Alright, good morning everybody. Here we are on the, what is it, the 29th day of April. It's almost May 1, and what we're going to do today is we're going to continue to talk about the perimeter and area of parallelograms, and we decided, or I decided last week, that we were going to call them p-grams, and that way we didn't have to write out the word parallel every time we referred to the shape. So what we said last week was that the perimeter of a parallelogram was equal to the sum of the sides. We said that the area was equal to the base times the height, and we said, almost the most importantly, that the base and height are always perpendicular. Now, it wouldn't be a bad idea at all if you just maybe paused right now and went back and watched last Wednesday's video. It's not a very long one. It would be a great review for you for today, because last week we had to find the base in some of the shapes, and we had to find the height in some of the shapes, and we did that using the Pythagorean theorem. Well, we're going to have to do the same thing today, but we're not going to be using the Pythagorean theorem every time. Some of the times we're going to be using rules about special right triangles. And our rules about special right triangles were that we'll start with a 45, 45, 90. In a 45, 45, oops. See how long that takes to undo. Maybe we'll try to erase it. This is supposed to be a 45, 45, 90. Oh boy. Okay. We're going to scratch that out. We're going to make this a 45 since my eraser won't work. And we spoke earlier in the year, and we said that in a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, that the two legs are equal to each other. And the hypotenuse is equal to a leg times the square root of 2. So in a 45, 45, 90, the hypotenuse is equal to a leg times the square root of 2. And the legs, each leg is equal to the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. Okay? And the other special right triangle that we talked about this year was a 30, 60, 90. And it had special rules as well. So in this 30, 60, 90 right triangle, we have a hypotenuse. We have the side opposite the 30-degree angle, and that's called the short leg. And we have the side opposite the 60-degree angle, and that's called the long leg. And the rule related to a 30, 60, 90 is that if the short leg is equal to x units long, well then the hypotenuse is 2 times x units long. And the long leg is equal to x times the square root of 3. So in a 30, 60, 90, the hypotenuse is equal to the short leg times 2. The short leg is equal to the hypotenuse divided by 2. The long leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. And the other way you can find the short leg is, let's see, the short leg is also equal to the long leg divided by the square root of 3. And those are your rules related to a 30, 60, 90 special right triangle. So I'm going to do a few problems now using those rules, and then I'm going to give you some practice problems to do for today. Alright, so here we go. I'm having all kinds of problems today with this program, and I don't know why it won't let me add another page. It won't really let me do anything. How about if we insert? No, nothing there. What if we go to the right? Let's see. Actually, I'm going to move over to this other program. And, of course, there we go. Alright, so let's do some practice problems. Or, not practice problems, let's do some examples. So, here we go. We are going to be finding the area and perimeter. So here's our parallelogram. And here's our height. And we've got a side that's 8.5. We've got this base down here that is 15. And we've got a 45-degree angle right here. And we're going to find the perimeter. And the area. Okay, so let's start with this left side. If it's 8.5, the right side's 8.5. And if the bottom's 15, the top is 15. And the sum of the sides, our perimeter is going to be 15 plus 15, or 2 of the 15s plus 2 of the 8.5s. So 2 15s is 30, and 2 8.5s is 17, and 30 plus 17 would be 47. Now, our area is going to be equal to the base times the height. Well, our base is 15, and our height is right here. It's this piece, this segment that's perpendicular to the base. Well, what we've got here is, it doesn't really look like it, but it is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, and you know the hypotenuse is 8.5. So if we're trying to find this height, which is a leg of a 45, 45, 90, you know from the rule that the leg of a 45, 45, 90 the leg, or in this case the h, is going to be equal to 8.5 divided by the square root of 2. So in your calculator, we need 8.5 divided by the square root of 2. And that's 6.01. So the height of our triangle is equal to 6.01 and our base is equal to 15. So the area is going to be equal to 15 times 6.01, and 15 times 6.01 is 90.15. Alright, so here's our perimeter and here's our area, and we use the rule related to special right triangles to find the height of this parallelogram. Alright, so let's do another one. Here we've got another parallelogram. And this time we've got a 30-degree angle. We've got a 32 side. We've got 12 here. And we are going to find the perimeter in the area. So let's start off with the perimeter, which is the sum of the sides. If the top of this shape is 32 units, then the bottom of this shape is 32 units. So we've got 2 of the 32s plus, we don't know the left side and the right side of this shape yet, but what we do have is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, and we know the short leg. So if the short leg of a 30, 60, 90 is 12, then the hypotenuse is 12 times 2, which is 24, and the long leg is equal to 12 times the square root of 3. So those come from your rules related to special right triangles. So if the right side of the shape is 24, the left side of the shape is 24. And back to our perimeter, we would have 2 of the 32s, the top and the bottom, plus 2 of the 24s. So if we go 2 times 32 is 64, plus 2 of the 24s, which is 48. Our perimeter is going to be equal to 64 plus 48, which is 112. Now our area is going to be equal to the base, which we're going to use this 32 times the height. And since these two segments are perpendicular to each other, our 12.3 is the height. So the area of this shape is going to be equal to 32 times 12 radical 3. So in our calculators again, we've got 32 times 12 times 3 square root, and that gives us 665.1. And those are two examples of finding the area and the perimeter of a parallelogram using the rules related to special right triangles. And what I want to do is we're going to do one more example problem, and then I'm going to give you your practice for today. So let's take a look at this. Another parallelogram. And we got the top that's equal to 17. We've got this as our height. We've got a 45-degree angle here. We've got one leg of this 45, 45, 90 equal to 9. And this is going to be this red segment again will be our height. So let's find the rest of these dimensions so that we can find the perimeter first. If the top of this parallelogram is 17, then the entire bottom of this parallelogram is also 17. So we're going to have 2 of the 17s plus 2 of the left side and the right side. So if this is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, and this leg is 9 units long, then the other leg, which is also the height, is 9 units long. And the hypotenuse of the 45, 45, 90 is equal to 9 times the square root of 2, or a leg times the square root of 2. So if the left side is 9 radical 2, then the right side is 9 radical 2. So we've got 2 17s plus 2 of the 9 square root of 2's. So let's do this in your calculator. Your 2 17s are 34, and then you got 2 times 9 times 2 square root, 25.46. And we're going to add that to the 34, and we got 59.46. There's your perimeter. Now we've already done the math. We've got your base, and we've got your height. So the area of this parallelogram is going to be equal to 17 times 9, and 17 times 9 is equal to 153 units. Okay, so those are 3 examples of finding the area and perimeter of a parallelogram using rules related to special right triangles. Again, I would watch the video from last week as well as a review. And here are your practice problems for today. Here is problems 1 and 2. I would pause the video right now and write down problems 1 and 2. Here is problems 3 and 4. After you've reviewed the notes and you've reviewed the examples and you've completed the practice problems and you feel comfortable with all your answers, please log into Focus and complete the assignment that is related to these notes. Everybody stay safe, healthy, and we'll talk again soon.